These accusations they never stop. They just circle around and change form slightly. I'm going to say this, and then I'm really going to try to just not address it again, because this has gone on for 5 years, and I have said this for 5 years, and they have repeated this for 5 years. It's a fucking nightmare. The people in 2009, the authorities, the ones trained to investigate murder, found no evidence to put me in jail for the crime. They did a full investigation. I cooperated, right? I gave my fingerprints. I gave my computer. I gave them everything I knew. I went and I had meetings with them whenever they asked me to. They did a full investigation. It took a couple years. The murder happened early 2009, February 23rd, 2009. I was at the police May 23rd, 2009, March 23rd, 2009. 5 weeks later, I was at the police. I don't do well with numbers. But so between then and 2013, when the trial happened, there was an investigation. That's 3 years for the police, for the detectives, the prosecutor, everybody involved to get all the information they needed. And they decided not to charge me. And there is nothing that these YouTube channels can say today that is going to change that. Absolutely nothing. As much as they tell you they have all the evidence they need, the police have never spoken to me about it. I haven't been arrested. I haven't been put in handcuffs and told that I need to answer some questions because some new evidence has come up. You don't have anything. You think you do because the trial was cut in two, and you're using my side to prove that I'm saying things that never happened. I'm saying things that didn't go to trial. It doesn't mean they didn't happen. It simply means they tried him only for what he did to her. He also has another case that could still be tried. It's all up in an evidence box in Florida because they asked me. Before the trial happened, they asked me. They told me. They had a meeting and they said they want to separate what he did from her and what he did to you as separate trials, which means I wouldn't be able to say what he did to me on trial. I couldn't say on trial that I was scared, that he had beat me, that he had strangled me, that he had threatened to kill me, that he had originally catfished me to actually get me into his life. I couldn't say that on trial because that was a part of a separate case for what he did to me that I was not allowed to talk about. Okay. Because I wasn't allowed to say that, and I wrote it in my book, the group is saying, this is all lies. None of this is in the court transcript. None of this went to trial. No, none of it went to trial because the cases were separated. And I chose never to have the second case tried. That was my choice because I didn't want to go through another trial. I figured the first trial was a nightmare. Roberta was getting justice. The person who killed her was going to prison. I didn't need justice. I didn't deserve justice. I had been beaten and threatened my entire life. That was just life for me. It wasn't something I felt like I wanted to sit in a courtroom and stare at this man for another 4 or 5 weeks, however fucking long it took. It wasn't something I wanted to divulge in front of a lot of people at that time. At that time, I wasn't even really telling my therapist exactly what I remembered happened because I broke down every time I did. They did EMDR treatments with me to help me be able to talk to her about the situation because I was breaking down so hard that I simply wasn't able to talk about it with my therapist. After the police came to my therapist's office with a warrant for my files is when they contacted me and said that they wanted to change the trial and make it two different cases, using what he did as different to two different women as two different cases. Everything that I have been saying has been known by the police since 2009. And they chose not to charge me. They chose that there was no crime that I committed because he forced me to do so many things. He lied to me about who he was to begin with. I didn't even know his real name until after the murder happened because he told me his name was Brian. He catfished me to get me into his life. He promised me a whole lot of things that he never had just to get me in his life so that he could, his plan, because in my Craigslist ad, I specifically said that I was schizoaffective and I was needing a man to take care of me. I did that because I had been in relationships and people were saying that I was lying by not telling them up front, because I would be perfectly normal and then suddenly I would not be okay because I'm bipolar too and I have breakdowns and I had CPTSD at the time as well, but I wasn't diagnosed with it. So I was very blunt in the Craigslist ad that I posted that I was looking for a long-term relationship, that I had these mental health problems, that I couldn't take care of myself. His plan, they were living off the government. He was living off of her disability checks. So after he killed her, he was going to push to get me on disability so that he could live off of my disability checks. And then he would have another mentally unwell woman that he could control, and the government would pay him to be in complete control of this mentally unwell person that he has in his house. After he got tired of the last one because she was too much work, so he wanted to get somebody who was a little less work, but still the government would pay to take care of. I think that was his initial plan. I think that's why he chose me. I've often questioned why he chose me. You know the fucked up thing? I know why he didn't kill me. He told me why he didn't kill me. And it's the same reason that so many of you hate me. See, one night, he strangled me. I got angry at him. He had me tied to a bed for a week, and I told him my grandmother was going to find me, that I was not some throwaway person that nobody was looking for. Maybe I didn't have a lot of people in my life, but I had my grandmother, and she was going to come looking for me. And he started to strangle me with a vacuum cleaner cord. He strangled me until I blacked out, and I thought I was dead. And later, I asked him why he didn't kill me, because he was right there. I had already passed out. And he said it was because there was an innocence in me that he needed to kill before he could kill me. He said there was something in my eyes that was innocent, and he couldn't bring himself to kill it, to kill my body before he killed that light. The childishness, the friend, the all the things that y'all make fun of me for because I'm not a grown-up, supposedly, are the reasons that he didn't kill me, if I'm to believe him. And I have for a very long time. What these channels are accusing me of is conspiracy to murder. The statute of limitations for conspiracy to murder is 5 to 10 years from the point of the murder. The conspiracy is over once the murder happens. So the conspiracy to murder would have ended, if it existed, it would have ended February 23rd, 2009. From there, the authorities would have 10 years to charge me with conspiracy. 2019 would have been the statute of limitations for me to be charged with conspiracy to murder. Funny how these channels decided to start accusing me of it in 2020. Literally just past the threshold. It's because they know what they're saying is fictional. They know that I can't be tried for it because they know they're lying. And the statute of limitations has already passed anyway. So they feel like it's okay for them to just say what they want. My family being involved makes things very complicated, but you have to ask yourself one question when listening to their statements is, why didn't they tell these things to the police back then? Why would they not tell the police the truth during the investigation, but decide to come online and tell a bunch of random bullying, targeting channels things that they never told the police when it was needed? Right? If they manage to get the case reopened on their bullshit, I really hope my family gets put in jail for a little bit for hiding evidence, lying to the police, just not telling them. It seems like it should be criminal. It's not, because they're lying, and it's not criminal at all to just go online and lie about somebody. And somebody was saying that if I was never charged, and that means I never did it, then none of these channels that are hurting me ever did what they've done, because they haven't been charged with it. But murder is a criminal charge, right? Defamation and slander are civil. For them to be charged with defamation and slander for what they've done to my image, my life, my mental image of myself, my brother's grave, if they were to be charged with that, I would have to press charges for them privately. The private lawyer that I could never afford. It is a civil matter. I cannot go to the police and have them do anything. They could. Murder is criminal. If they went to the police and told them they had evidence of a murder that the police didn't have, that would be looked at. But defamation and slander are not criminal. There is no way I could get that tried because I am poor. And they know that I'm poor just as well as they know that the statute of limitations for what they're accusing me of has passed. That's the thing with these channels. They do their research and they know what they're doing. They know what buttons to push. They know what lies to tell. And then they switch for their next victim. Because they're attacking this girl named Laura and they're saying that she defends pedophiles. Kenneth McBride was a pedophile. He was a convicted sex offender. And by attacking me and putting the blame of the murder on me, they are defending a pedophile. They are defending Kenneth McBride. They have been actively trying to get a pedophile who murdered a woman out of prison. They have been sending him money to his commissary. They have been writing him letters. But of course, if they find somebody else as doing that for one, that's a big, bad thing, and nobody should ever. But they are perfectly fine corresponding with Kenneth McBride, who is in prison, who they knew when they started corresponding with him was a sexual predator. The logic isn't logicking, but it never does with this group. That's why I'm not associated with them outside of the fact that they're terrorizing me. I am not a part of this group. I am not a member. I am a victim that would like to be left the fuck alone, because if your claims are legal, there is absolutely no reason why I am not in jail. You are lying. And it's gone on for so fucking long. You are lying about my trauma for internet clout, for financial gain. And it's my life that you're fucking up. It's my memories that you're bringing back. These things don't mean anything to you because you didn't live them. You don't know what it feels like to have somebody holding you that had murdered somebody else. You don't know what it feels like to sleep in a bed when there's a body buried a couple of feet outside the door. None of y'all have any idea what the fuck you're talking about. But you're gonna keep talking.